common positions that you get in and you do things. There's a couple of, for those that have been at some of my previous seminars, I've got like some basic principles of Tuite. And one that you're commonly dealing with when you get down here in the ground and you're trying to do Tuite is that arm is locked straight. When their arm is straight, they're really in a dominant, strong position. So that's one of the things we're going to tackle, and I'll talk more about that up top. But another thing is, anytime we're in a position like this, if his fingers are up, which way does he want to go when I do a wrist lock? Whether it's in a hand grab or a forearm, he wants to go down. So if I want to get him off of me, is that a good thing to do?
No.
I'm going, I'm bringing him into me. All right, so you can go ahead and get up. So, where I see a lot of people trying to do wrist locks from the ground when you're mounted or you got them pulled up into your guard, the problem is, one, the arm is straight, and so they're in a pretty dominant position, and you can't get a good wrist lock on it. All the tendons and ligaments are not aligned the way we want to make themselves weak. The other is this principle that's not one of the 6 that I normally tell everybody, but it's very simple concept. Whichever way his fingers are pointing, did I do this at yours? Yeah. Whichever way his, she just got a real big smile. Whichever way the fingers are pointing, he wants to react in the opposite direction. So if I'm doing a basic wrist lock like this, he wants to go down. If I go here, he wants to go that direction. If I go here, he wants to go the opposite direction, all right? And that, if the fingers are down, if he's in a flexion instead of an extension position, he wants to go up, right? So we want to, when he's on the ground, we want to put him in a position, his hand, his arm and everything in a position so that he wants to go away from us. He either wants to go up, right, or left. Make sense?
Okay.
All right. So the first few things we're going to be doing, we're in an hour, we're not going to get full-on brawls, you know. Well, you guys may, knowing you probably will. But we're going to learn these concepts, and so we're going to be doing various different Tuite from these positions, and we're going to play a little bit with those 2 things. Which ways are the fingers pointing, and how can I get an arm bent? All right, so now we're going to come back into that same position, and I'll start you guys first. I want you to start with a cross hand position. We call it high five when we're standing, or the Will Smith if you're at the Academy Awards, right? You're in that position. We're going to just start in this cross position, and his arm is straight, all right? So it's hard to do that technique in this position. But if I want to take him this direction, I'm going to bend his arm and turn his fingers the opposite direction. Does that make sense?
Right.
So then I'm going to spin this, and he goes right on over, right? And then we can finish something else there. But come back. So again, we're not dealing with how we got the hand. You know, that's a whole game that anybody that's done any ground, you can play with all that stuff. But just from this position to learn this principle, I just want you to go into the high five. Hey, how's it going? I'm in that position. I'm going to bend his arm, and if I want him to go to my right, I turn the fingers to the left. And now this goes on a swivel, and I just take him over. All right, so that's going to be our first drill. High five, bend the arm, turn the fingers to your left to make them go right. Fingers are pointing that way because I want them to go right. I'm going to arc my thumb up, shift his hips. He's wanting to go already. And I just roll over, start the lawnmower. So I'm just yanking the ripcord here, right? I could be here, I can be here, whatever. But I'm now facing him, that's the key. And I haven't lost any pressure there, have I?
Oh, no.
No. So
No, it's there.
I can slide round up to what we call the Suzanne Summers. Whatever you want to do from there, you know.
then I establish my cross arm, I swim around, and I get my cross collar choke. But if I go to do that, he parries it right into there, and he's got the technique, right? And then the second one was off of I'm in his guard, and you see a lot of times they'll do neck cranks like this, neck cranks, right? And then so what he's gonna do is put his hand right next to his ear, and then he shooks my arm right into it. Because when I'm here, I know that if I'm on his neck, I have nothing. He can straighten out his head. So I have to get to the base of the skull. That base of the skull aligns with the ear. So you just open your hand so the ear's in that hole. And then you just do a basic kind of shook off where he grabs my wrist high, elbow to elbow, and my fingers are gonna stay open because they're peeling off the head, and then he catches it there. See, so now go ahead and do that. So then from here, you just do a flower sweep this way. And then now, that's it.
Nice.
So those are two ways that we're just kind of exploring over here, trying to find how to tie it into some of the practical situations that we got with that.
Koshi, that actually would work.
Wouldn't work in the ring.
It's always
So-
it never worked in cage.
So also from here, if you did that, right, you're in here and you put your, I call it a shark fin, right? And I shuck over to here. It may cause his arm to go long, like that. If it does, I'm gonna take my leg over here in my hand and I'm gonna come into there,
That's hot.
right? And so we've all done, anybody that's done groundwork has ended up in that position, right? But I use my arm to bend his arm, and then I've got that wrist lock too. That's where we were going, but they found some other cool things. So play with those variants. All of you know wrist locks, right? So these same principles really apply in any of the wrist locks. So we've done like a punch, we've done where they tried to grab, where they did grab and we peeled it off. But what if they grab us, right? So if he grabs us, if he pushes down, I can't get my Tuite to work, right? I cannot get that wrist lock to work because I'm violating one of what I call the 6 basic principles of Tuite.
Arm straight.
Right? Yeah, buy the book. No. So what do I got to do? I got to bend his arm,
Bend his arm.
right? And so I can do that solo, or I can take his hand over there, but I got to bend his arm. Once I bend his arm, I'm golden, right? Now his fingers are facing Troy, so it's a little bit harder for me to do it that way than it is this way. And then I can just grab and I maintain a wrist lock no matter what I'm doing. I just maintain the wrist lock, and now we're over to, I want him prone, right? That's where I want him. So take any of your favorite wrist locks and think about bending the arm and the fingers pointing the opposite way. All I did was the standard arm grab. I did that, right? That's all I did. I did it from the ground, but I had to make sure, typically on the ground, what happens is their arm straightens. So people will say, oh, Tuite don't work. Yeah, don't work if their arm's straight. So you gotta get that arm bent. So all I did was that, and then I rolled him over. I pointed his fingers to my right, I rolled him to the left. Simple principle. Where the fingers point, they want to go the other way. Get the arm bent, point the fingers where you don't want them to go, and they're going to go the other way. All right? So you can try that one, or you can do your favorite wrist lock and figure out how it integrates into those two principles. Make it happen. Like I said to you, Oyata had these weapons kata that we did, and not a lot of other styles have exactly that. Oyata Systems had it, and a few others picked it up through Oyata or Oyata students over the year. But they had these little sticks that were about 5 to 6 inches long that helped the fishermen bring in the nets, and then if they got in a fight, they would always have their little tools with them, and they would do certain locks. And you see a lot of techniques. Kubotans came out of that, and there's some other various things that are pretty similar to that over the years. Well, I've been teaching police officers for years. Once the flashlights got down to that size at a certain point, I started integrating those Chizi techniques into the curriculum at the various police academies. And so I just thought I'd kind of share that today. So if anybody came in late and still didn't get one, just pick one up after we start doing some stuff. But I'm gonna just talk for just a second. You know, there's all sorts. You can come up and look at any of these, borrow any of these that are sitting up here. Not all of them are charged. Some people discharged them, playing with them yesterday, a couple of them. But one of the really cool things about the flashlight that you don't have with a stick is that you can blind somebody as you do some techniques. So what I'm gonna have everybody, when we start out, find a place on your gi. You can put it in here or whatever, but we're gonna be doing techniques where we pull it out. You may draw it like a knife. That part doesn't really matter, but we're gonna be doing some strikes with it. We're gonna be doing some joint locks with it. But the basic position we wanna be in is thumb to where your imaginary button is on the back of those, okay? All right, so the bigger end, it would be your light end, and the smaller end will be your flashlight end. And the clips should be acclimated so they kind of come up that way, if that makes sense, right? All right, so I'm just gonna grab one right here, and we're gonna just start out. I'm gonna use my favorite Uki here. He likes to show up for my class because he loves torture. And so what we're gonna do is, and not everybody has their pants this way or whatever, but you can take these anywhere. You can take them on a plane. For years, I've taken flashlights on every plane ride, no matter where I'm going in the world, I take them. So put it in a spot that you feel comfortable, run it through your belt or whatever, but know my draw might be a little bit different than your draw depending on where it's at. Most of the time, I have mine in my right pocket because I'm right-handed. I'm pretty sure, I know there's at least one left-hander in the class, but I'd always have mine in my pocket down here. So I could kind of get a hold of it without somebody knowing what I was doing, that I was grabbing something and pulling it out. But at any rate, so we're just gonna deal initially with just like a straight punch, and I'm gonna pull this out, and I'm gonna go here, all right? And so I'm just capturing his hand, and I'm jabbing, but for those that haven't had my class before, if his left leg's forward, when I jab with the back end of this, I'm gonna go curve it to behind whichever leg is forward. Does that make sense? So I'll give the nickel dime to her. For those that haven't had this before, table legs, if he was a table, he's missing 2 legs. So if he's got his right leg forward, he has no support system behind him. So when I hit, I curve that way, and it's hard for him to resist. He has no structure back there. If he had his left foot forward, when I hit, I would curve that direction. So it's whichever leg is forward, I curve to that side, okay? So the first thing we're gonna do is I'm gonna come in, curve to that side, and I'm just gonna drop this and come up and go right over the top. So I'm in this grip, my thumb is up, and I'm gonna just squeeze right here and pull him down to where my right foot is. Okay, so that's just gonna be our first start, and then we'll finish and do some other stuff once we get him to the ground in a minute. So again, I'm here, I take his balance by going behind his forward leg. I drop it down, clear, grab right here with his neck. And notice I'm kind of compressing a little bit. I'm collapsing my forearm as I drop him down. I'm going into that position. I'm trying to make that as small as possible as I touch on the carotid general area. One more time. I go off behind his leg, come here, and see I'm taking a shuffle to get away from that hand, because he's wanting to come with that hand. And then I collapse and just bring him down. All right, and I'm gonna hold on to him for now, and we'll go somewhere else after that. All right? Yes, sir. Let's try that. All this, I'm kind of going, this is simulating the tail cap on a flashlight where you put the batteries in and screw it on, right? So as I draw that, I'm drawing it to where I want to have a little bit of that end sticking out that I can jab with, right? As I go to jab, I'm rolling that thumb in so I can direct it, I can curve that or either way, right? It's easy. Curving this way is harder, but if I put that thumb there, it's kind of like, almost like I'm slicing, Right? I get that jab. If the right leg's forward, I go behind it. If the left leg's forward, I go behind it, and then I come over. All right, so I wanted to clarify that, and then I'm gonna move on to a basic rollover. So again, he's here, I come up, I get in that position, and I'm answering the phone here. You can add your flare in there, but I'm gonna take him to the ground, and he's gonna go face up, right? So as he goes there, I slide up, and you got this little notch back here where we put our arm when we're doing arm bars, right? So I was here, I'm gonna just press that flashlight right in there, all right? And I'm using my leg to assist. And I push that, and now it's a class 1 lever if I move his hand towards the back wall, the TVs. And then I'm right into here, knee on, I come over the top, I'm sliding down the pole, and then I can use the flashlight again to put another block on him and hold him in place. All right? Another time, slight angle, slightly different angle. He comes in, I go here, come over the top. I'm gonna answer the phone. Hello, hello. It's a telemarketer. So I hang it up, and I push that, right? I push it right in there. My knee is here. Got him locked in an arm bar. It's almost half a Nahanchi knee on there.
Right.
I don't lift my leg up, I only lift my foot up. And switch to the other side. Now it's an arm bar, and I'm putting that in. From that arm bar position, if I'm not getting the response I want, I can either go flexion or I can go extension. Pose for the picture. All right. You guys got that? Anybody need to see it again? All right, let's try. You want to see it again? All right. Can't easily. No. So here, capture, squeeze, roll, answer the phone, take him down. That notch is right there. I keep this tight. I don't want to lose his forearm. I just take the flashlight here and stick it just past the elbow. Push and pull, knee, hop over, hook there, or hook there, whichever. If their hand's in a fist, usually I go flexion. If their hand's open, I'll go extension.
Right.
All right.
Alright, it's in a big
Now-
here.
Here it is.
Hook. Up and down. Hook.
Hooks. That's why I love these little flashlights, man. They're hooks. So,
I'm not getting it. Like it's
Yeah.
pulling me up. It's yeah.
yeah, there you go. All right, everybody kind of getting the hang of that? All right, let's do something a little bit different. All right. So this, I ended up on the outside that time. This time I'm gonna end up on the inside where I don't really want to be, right? Because there's this other hand here. All right, but actually, let's do a push first. So he's gonna do a push, and I'm gonna throw my arm up, right? Because oh crap, he's pushed me, right? And so everybody knows me, I'm a big Tuite fan, right? So that's what you normally see me do. I'm gonna take this, and there's the ulnar notch where we normally compress the nerve, which is what makes him do the fun stuff I like, right? So as I catch his hand, I'm just gonna go over the top and put the flashlight in that notch, and I'm gonna give it a little wiggle, and he goes down really quick.
Sucks.
Right? So even if I it's a mirror grab, right? Because I got this in my right hand. It could be a forearm grab as well. Doesn't really matter if you catch the hand or they catch your forearm. I'm gonna go over the top and put that in the little notch. You got the ulnar stylus head, the end of the ulnar bone here, right? Big knot. I'm putting it in that groove between the knot and the bones of the metacarpals, right? And all I'm doing is putting it in there and wiggling it, and then I can take them straight to the ground. I can actually just drag them out and hold them there, right? I can slide that up if I want, use the stick in its place, and hold them various things from there, obviously, right? So one more time, he grabs my hand, I come over the top, and I'm just doing this kind of wiggle motion. I'm circling it towards me and back across to that 45, and I take him to the ground. All right, let's try that. So he grabs my forearm, all right? So what I'm gonna do is, before I lock this, maybe his arm is a little bit more straight. What I wanna do is I'm gonna impact up on his forearm and then immediately roll towards his shoulder or bicep, whichever works, all right? It's gonna depend on how long his arms are and how long my flashlight is, that kind of thing. But I'm gonna be striking here and then rolling straight up to there, right? So the motion is 1, 2, and once I do that, now my hand is across. I'm gonna hook at his elbow. I'll do it various angles. I'm gonna capture at his elbow, and then I just rotate and take him straight to the ground. Kind of that kata kind of motion, right? So he comes up, grabs my arm, but he gives me a little bit of a stiff arm. I'm gonna impact, and you know, you got the kind of like two bands of muscles here. I'm just kind of aiming right in that general area, right? Basic, I'm just hitting straight. A little more advanced, it's again circles. I circle it, then hit the bicep or the shoulder. I hook behind, so I'm in this position. I'm hooking behind, and I just touch. I don't grab tight. I just touch my tricep and turn until he goes to the ground. All right. Another angle. This way. This way works. All right. Try to get back there. All right. So he grabs, gives me a little bit of a stiff arm. I'm going to strike with a little circle, and then strike, which puts me past his elbow. Hand just goes flat and hooks. And then I'm here. I just touch, and then lift that elbow up and turn and take a knee. From there, I can just slide up, and we're right in where we were standing. I'm hooking that, and I've got him pinned in that position. All right, anybody need to see it again from another angle or anything? Let's try it.
On the second strike, what's you hitting there?
So I'm hitting here, and then either bicep or shoulder, whatever. I can even hit brachial plexus. It doesn't really matter. I'm just trying to get a good shot here, and then I can go brachial plexus or whatever, but I'm coming over the top and capturing your elbow at that point. And it's just down, slide up, and I'm right back to where we were standing. This part of my arm is locking his thumb in place. So his thumb is trapped. He's in the monkey trap. He can't get his hand out. I've seized right here. I've seized his thumb, and then I've got this hook. So if he starts trying to pull his arm out, it's monkey trap. He can open his fingers, but that's it, right? So if he does open his fingers, I just go higher till now I got his pinky, right? And it still works. But he can't pull his thumb out because this is pinching that thumb into place, and I hooked his elbow. All right? Plan changed because they tried to do something with their left hand. So he's going to come up and grab my arm again, and I'm going to go to do this, right? I'm going to go to do that thing, and then he reaches up to push on my hand here. So all I'm going to do is go over and pin that to him, and then do the same thing. All right? And I could be here. I'll just hold it back for a second. I could be here, and he goes to punch, and I just go over and go to there. Nice. All right. So start experimenting. We got probably about 15 minutes left. Start experimenting with nice and slow, so you know, because we're in experimentation mode with what they can do with that other hand. They can push or whatever, and how you can hook on it. All right. So just real quick, that one again is, if it comes, I'm doing an upper block. It's just that simple. But then I hook, pass it to this hand, and that hand's naturally going to let go, and I just slide up and go right into his side, hook, and I'm into an arm bar. And, you know, tend to flow other things. I want you guys to start thinking about the tools you already know, the techniques you know, and how you could use this little device as a force multiplier, as a lever, to do some of the things you already know. This time we got a punch that comes up, and I'm going to capture it, just the standard 2-finger kind of capture. I'm going to shoot that lovely little notch right here that, you know, the funny bone gives you the tingle, and I won't do it. I won't do it 100% hard, but if I capture this and I strike sideways right there, right, and you think about a real tactical flash like this has very rough edges, so this hurts, but that'll cut and hurt. So I'm gonna push this to the side. I'm gonna seize it, but I'm gonna push it to the side as I do that motion, right? And so his arm is now bent, and I come over the top, hook, and my hand here, I'm just gonna go up and answer the phone again. So I answer the phone, again, telemarketer. I gotta hang up the phone, do whatever I gotta do to get him into the position that I wanna get him into, right? So just play with that one, and your ending can be your own, but all I'm doing is I'm stepping here and striking right past that elbow joint where you hit, everybody's in here hit their elbow on a table or something. That's all I'm doing. I'm creating that sensation, and I'm kind of curving it around so the flashlight beam would be going towards him, right? Because I want to hit that from this angle. So I'm coming in that way, coming up, and this also, he's most likely going to be distracted from that. But should his hand be coming forward, I've got this hand up because I went here and I'm here. So if he did that, in the unlikely event that this didn't light him up, or maybe I missed, it's just an upper block, and then I'm right on to the other stuff I did. I can even come in, go right into an escort. Again, we do that more with tweets, but I do hook in up. So one final time here, come in, hook it, and then my hand that's kind of upside down now just lets go and answers the phone, and I'm right there. Hey, hello, hello. What do you mean my social security number's been hacked? You know, whatever. And think about all the other little adjustments you can do to get their attention as you're trying to get into position, right? Everybody knows all the other little nerves, you know? It's very easy to get them to do what you want them to do. I can go either side, whatever, you know. I'm going to show you an escort from the same thing. So I did that motion, hook, and came here. I'm going to push him right here with the end of the flashlight until he stands back up. Then I'm going to switch and grab it and hook it this way. And so I'm hooking and just escorting him around.
Like showing him how to run.
He's coming out, and I'm hitting the funny bone. I'm trying to get that zing. I'm coming up and hooking that to here. Now, right here, I'm going to press this until he stands up. Then once he stands up, I just switch to the other side and hook. However I get it, here, 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 doesn't matter. But I like to be below the jawline, right? And he's gonna go wherever the heck you want. Because he's in this position, and you've got him all locked in. And I'm just walking him like that.